What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on our Miami Dolphins. And today was a crazy day for the AFC East. And moves weren't necessarily made by the Miami Dolphins, but it could impact the Miami Dolphins. As today, well, first of all, last night, crucial AFC East matchup, the Buffalo Bills beat the New York Jets 23 to 20. The Jets lose off an interception from Aaron Rodgers after Mike Williams slips on 3rd and 16. Taron Johnson comes up with the big interception, and the Bills they beat the Jets 23 to 20. And we had some big moves today in the AFC East, and it disgusts me, but reality is reality. And both the Bills and the Jets are trying to win now. They're trying to get better for the postseason, for the playoffs. So the Jets, they trade for Devontae Adams. And yes, it's a good move, but this reeks of depth of desperation. Um, I don't think. I think this would have happened if they won or lost last night. Now that it happened today, it would not have mattered if the Jets won or the Jets lost last night. They were going to get Devontae Adams, and this proves to me one thing and one thing only is Aaron Rodgers is running the ship over there in New York. He's getting anything he wants. He's getting his boys. He's getting the coach fired. Anything he wants, Aaron Rodgers gets. And so far, Aaron Rodgers is not producing on the field like the Jets expected it to be. So now you look at it for the Jets' perspective, and they're 2-4. And now they're going into a crucial stretch here where they have 3 games coming up, which I think is going to determine their season. They have 3 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which you never know what you're going to get from them on offense, the Patriots, who suck, and the Houston Texans, who are one of the top teams in the NFL. Those 3 games, I think, are going to determine the Jets' season. If they win 2 out of those 3 games, they're back in the race. At 4-5, and you look at their schedule in the future, it could set up pretty nicely for them. But if they don't, if they go 1-2 or 1-3, potentially 0-3, it is going to be a tough hill to climb for the Jets. So the Jets, Aaron Rodgers gets his buddy Devontae Adams. They get Devontae Adams, and the Bills get Amari Cooper. The Cleveland Browns traded Amari Cooper for a 3rd and 7th round pick, I believe it was, and you just add another weapon to Josh Allen's arsenal. He's got 2 very good tight ends, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. He's got Shakir, Keon Coleman. Now he's got Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper is his number 1 receiver. And Amari Cooper goes from playing with Deshaun Watson to playing with Josh Allen. So I'm sure he's absolutely thrilled about that. And, I hate that the Bills are getting better, but for the Buffalo Bills perspective, I think that's a really good trade. I think that's a really good trade for the Buffalo Bills. Absolutely. But how does this affect the Miami Dolphins? Let me take a sip of my water bottle and then we're going to get right into it. So, how does this affect the Miami Dolphins? Well, and this is not going to be a long video because I don't want to make it too long, and I'm going to make it short and sweet. There's two sides to this, okay? The first side is if the Dolphins can beat the Colts and beat Arizona, they are sitting at 4-3, and they are back in the race for the AFC East. They are back in the race for a potential wild card spot. I know it's not where we want to be, but where we were in the beginning of the season, to potentially getting back in the playoff hunt, I think that would be a miracle for this team to do that. I think that would be an absolute miracle if we somehow get back in the playoff hunt after watching, without Tua, two of the worst fucking games in a very long time as a Dolphins fan versus Seattle and versus the Tennessee Titans. If we come back from those losses, man, that'll be an absolute miracle. So option A, we beat the Colts and we beat Arizona. We are back in the AFC East race. We are back in the playoff hunt, and we can get better at the trade deadline, make some moves, hopefully, not settle, and go for a division title this season, even after the bad start. Or option B is we split against the Colts and the Cardinals. We more than likely are going to lose to the Buffalo Bills in Week 9. You're sitting at 3-5. And that is going to be a really, really tough task to come back from, with this team being 3-5 after the Buffalo Bills game. And at that point, man, there's no way you're winning this division. And it is very unlikely that you are going to make the playoffs. Let's just be real. If the Dolphins, if they split against Indy and Arizona, they're going to lose to the Bills, okay? And they're 3-5. Chances are they're not going to make the playoffs this year. It's just not going to happen. So that's how important this game against the Indianapolis Colts is this weekend for the Miami Dolphins. And there's two different sides. Like, the fans are, we have a divided fan base today. We have a fan base who wants to trade for players, even if we stink. Chris Greer needs to do this. Chris Greer needs to go get Hassan Reddick. Chris Greer needs to trade for Max Crosby. Chris Greer needs to trade for an offensive lineman. All of this. And then we have the other side who's like, we need to hold on to the draft picks for the future. We can't trade our first-round pick away for Max Crosby because we need a quarterback for the future. We have a fan base who wants to hold on to draft picks, wants to get younger. They want to tank for the season. And we have another fan base who wants to trade for assets. And no matter how bad we are, they want to trade for players. Where am I at? I don't know. I don't think we should be making trades right now just because the Bills and the Jets made trades today. We have to wait. We have to see the results on the field the next 2 weeks against Indianapolis and Arizona. And they're not great teams, but they are two very tough games. I will say, Indianapolis and Arizona, they are two very tough games for the Miami Dolphins. I will not lie to you in that aspect. Excuse me. So before I can give you an answer, I need to see how this team performs against Indianapolis and Arizona. I already see fans jumping on ship. We need Hassan Reddick. We need Max Crosby. What would be the point of trading for those guys if we're fucking sitting at 3-4 or 3-5? There's no point. You know why? Because you're not going to make the fucking playoffs. You would be better off moving on from the players that are not going to be here in the future and getting draft picks for those guys. Worrying about who you're going to take in the 2025 NFL draft, because the rumor is out that according to upper ownership in the NFL, most owners think that the Miami Dolphins are going to be in play for a quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft. So you're looking at Miami potentially drafting guys like Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart. You're looking at that list, and Miami potentially getting one of those quarterbacks. If things go south here and we don't do well against Indianapolis and Arizona, and chances are that could happen. I'm just setting you guys up for reality. It very well could happen. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I get out of here that I forgot to talk about yesterday is the AFC is very wonky right now. It is very, very. If I had one word to describe the AFC, it is wonky, man. So let's check this out. All right. Obviously, we have the upper echelon of the AFC. We know the top class of the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, and the Buffalo Bills, right? Those four teams are in their own class. There's no taking that away from them. But check this out. Right below them, these wildcard teams, so far you have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-2, which they're a good team, but you don't know what you're going to get from their offense on a week-to-week basis. You just don't know. Then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who are very run dependent, and they rely on running the football and playing defense. How much longer until teams are going to catch up onto this and the Chargers are going to have to adjust? Time will tell for that. Then you have teams like Indianapolis at 3-3, the Denver Broncos at 3-3, obviously the Dolphins 2-3, the Jets at 2-4, who got a hell of a lot better today. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Raiders. So right now, I would count out the Jaguars, the Patriots, and the Browns. Those are the only three teams in the AFC that I would count out. I'm not ready to count out the Titans just yet. I'm not ready to count them out yet, but you look at this AFC, and this wild card race could be fun towards the end of the season. But the Dolphins, they have to take care of business. It is such a crucial game this weekend against the Indianapolis Colts. And people are debating on social media, oh, I'd rather play Flacco because he's not a mobile quarterback. I'd rather play Anthony Richardson because he doesn't have experience. I don't care who it is. It's going to be Anthony Richardson probably. But if it was between Flacco and Richardson, I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass. This team just needs to win. Okay, the Colts are not a great team, man. They're good, but they are a very beatable bunch. And in my opinion, this team, I'm going to go out on a stretch here. This Dolphins team has more talent than the Indianapolis Colts do, man. Especially on defense. especially on defense. So, you've got to go out, figure out a fucking way to win this game against the Indianapolis Colts. So, that's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to stop in here tonight, talk about Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper trades, how that affects the Miami Dolphins, and how these next couple games are going to affect the rest of the season for the Miami Dolphins, whether they try to trade for players at the trade deadline or they don't because they don't feel like they have the best shot at the playoffs. So, that's all I got, man. That's all I got. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. Hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Comment down below everything you heard in the video, what you like about it, what you dislike about it. Let me know. And follow me on Twitter. All that good stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, let's go Dolphins.